Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms Chats, and we've been sharing what families need to know to keep their kids learning during the pandemic and as we start to emerge from the pandemic to be prepared to make the right choices for what schools their kids should be in the coming school year. And today we're focusing on Great Hearts Online, and we have a repeat guest, Kurtis Indorf, who's the executive director of Great Hearts Online. Welcome back, Kurtis.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Inga.
And then, so he has brought two very special guests who are both teachers at Great Hearts Online. And I'm really excited to hear from them about what their experience has been so far since the school opened in January. And so right below me is Emilie Sullivan. And my daughter knows her from when she was her teacher on campus at Great Hearts Monte Vista. And just before we went on the air, my daughter got to say hi to her, and that was really special.
It was so nice.
Yeah. So currently, Ms. Sullivan is the academic dean of grades 4 through 6 at Great Hearts Online, and she's also an English language arts teacher. And are you teaching 5th grade or 5th and 6th?
5th grade. Yeah, 5th grade.
Okay.
I can't give it up. I love 5th graders so much.
Yeah, it's a great age. And then we also have Bridget Saltmarsh, who is a kindergarten teacher at Great Hearts Online. So Bridget, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here. This is an honor to be here today.
Thank you. And what's great, I'm really glad that Kurtis recommended both these teachers to join us because they can talk about the range of grades that Great Hearts Online offers, so for younger children and then also the middle grades. And then, maybe Ms. Sullivan can kind of give us a preview of the grades that they're going to be adding for next year. So, okay, so I'm going to dive into my questions. Kurtis, since you're the executive director, your job is to talk about the big picture, what is Great Hearts Online? How are you and your team building it? And how are you serving students?
Yeah, thank you, Inga. Last time I was here with you, Great Hearts Online was an idea, and we were talking about ideas and not as much about what is real, what is happening. And so I'm really grateful for Ms. Sullivan and Mrs. Saltmarsh to be here with us today to talk about what is actually happening and how are we doing it and how are we teaching kids and building relationships with families. Great Hearts Online is a public charter school. We are a classical liberal arts organization. Right now, we launched on January 4th, and we're running grades K through 6. So public charter school K6. Next year, we'll run grades K through 8. So expanding grade levels, continuing to serve families as a public charter school across the state of Texas. We are also expanding to Arizona next year as well, which is very exciting. We'll hear about that charter application 1 week from today. At this time, we will know. Great Hearts Online is a Great Hearts school. And so for those of you who know about Great Hearts, we are a classical liberal arts organization. Our core purpose is to cultivate the hearts and minds of kids in pursuit of truth, beauty, and goodness. And that mission and that vision is about students, and it's about who they are and what matters to them and who they're becoming. And you'll hear me not say high test scores, although the other fact of the matter is that Great Hearts is an incredibly rigorous academic program, and we also run very high-performing schools. And so with Great Hearts Online, what that is remote access to the institution that is Great Hearts. We have teachers from across the state of Texas, from across the United States. We have a teacher in Mexico City. We have teachers, the best of the best, who we've been able to hire and reach out to join our ranks to teach your kids, to teach your family. And so you get access to that in your home, wherever you may live in San Antonio, in the state of Texas. The second thing that we are working on is creating a school community. We believe that community matters, and too often online education can feel like a checklist, it can feel tactical, it can feel lonely. That is the antithesis of what we're trying to do with Great Hearts Online. We are truly trying to build community in an online setting and forum. And that means we've done things differently. Bridget will talk about this later, Mrs. Saltmarsh will talk about this later. We have small classes. no more than no more than 15 kids in a class for their live classroom time, because we want to build that small, intimate, close-knit community. One thing that parents are saying is when they come to school, the thing that they're surprised by is how this is just school. Their kids know their friends. They see their friends. They know when they're not there. They laugh. They smile. We got emails after the first day. My student is smiling and laughing. It's like they're in school. And the response is yes, because they are in school, right? But unfortunately, for many kids, it didn't feel like that if they were in an online setting before. So we're really trying to build a robust online community. A third reason is, lots of parents want a closer perspective on what their kids are learning. You want to be more intimately involved in your child's education. This is a huge way of doing that. Education happens in your home. And so we're really trying to build those partnerships with families in a deeper and more intentional way. And then fourth, there's a lot of time and place flexibility. You want to have afternoons to go hiking. You want to play a sport or practice the piano. Asynchronous afternoons. That also means you want to go visit, grandma and grandpa or an aunt and uncle in another part of the state. Go ahead and do it. Nothing's holding you back from going and visiting them for a month. So there's a lot of time and place flexibility as well. So that is Great Hearts Online. That is what we were trying to do. And we get a little closer every day with wonderful people like Ms. Sullivan and Mrs. Saltmarsh to making that vision a reality.
So it's, I just want to offer, you meant the last time we spoke was last fall, and the school was still getting set up, and so it's wonderful to hear how the vision is clarified and to see the steps, and then also in the blog post, which I should mention, we have a blog post at shturnhamhomes.com about Great Hearts Online, and I've just been updating it based on it started out as, hey, this is coming, and then now it's a snapshot of where things are now and a preview of what's coming in the coming school year. And I linked to a document, you've got the survey data that's showing the high level of satisfaction among the families who are in Great Hearts Online now. And let's see, there's over 500 students participating in Great Hearts Online right now, which is just amazing to me.
Yeah, we have over 500 kids and scholars, 47% from San Antonio, 39% are from Irving, Dallas, Fort Worth, and 14% are from other parts of the state of Texas. It's a really beautiful thing when in homeroom you have some students talking about snow and other students talking about blistering heat, all in the same conversations. And it really helps to make us more connected in community and appreciate those things. So that's been really exciting to see.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna throw the next question to Mrs. Saltmarsh. You're gonna see my head for just a moment here, but the question is, okay, so you are teaching kindergarten, and I just wonder if you could talk about what's your experience like as a kindergarten teacher in Great Hearts Online. So okay, so take it away.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cotton. I wanted to start off kind of with a little story, because Kurtis, you really reminded me of something as far as you could go on vacation and you could still be learning, or you could go see your grandparents and still come to school online with us. When we first started, I actually had a kindergartner who was in Hawaii, and despite the 3-hour time distance, was still in class and present and learning before she'd go and set off on her adventures for the day. And I thought that was just this amazing, unique opportunity that she had, that she could still come to school and learn with us, but then still be able to go on these family vacations and trips and spend time with her loved ones. So that was really interesting. This whole new online learning is just, it's been great. It's been a learning experience for even us as teachers. And a growing experience. So there's been a lot of joy in our classroom. There's been a lot of hard work behind the scenes. My experience as a kindergarten teacher is that, I'm building something new with Great Hearts, and I've been a part of other Great Hearts schools before, and I just feel so excited that we're going to build this new community together. There's a lot of communicating with parents. There's a lot of parent involvements. We've been taking their feedback into consideration when making their independent work, when thinking about, our lesson planning and our lessons, their lives as well. Parents are so busy, they work, they have a lot going on as well. And for kindergartners, there's a lot of things that we have to consider. Kindergartners need that extra guidance with us, with their parents. It is definitely a work in progress. And so being able to communicate with parents more frequently, I get to have live conversations with even parents and get that live personal feedback. That's been really great. When I read with my scholars now, I get to talk to the parents. Parents are right there reading with us. It's something I've not been able to do before. And I get to explain, how I'm guiding them through so that when they're doing their independent reading with their scholars, they know what to do. They know what it looks like. They provide us feedback as far as how much time things are taking, and that gives us something else to work with, because it is this living and breathing thing that we're growing. And so we're growing together. And I really feel like we're partners in this between us and the parents. I'm getting this community that I've never gotten to experience before, because it's usually us and the students, and then we'll send emails or phone calls home, but it's just not as much. You can't meet as many times or as often in person because of schedule conflicts or parents working. And now we just get this beautiful feedback and get to work more one-on-one with our students and our parents as well. And because of the small classrooms, yes, I'm getting to hear from my scholars more often. They get more opportunities to talk. I get to see which ones more frequently. I can look out and I can see, okay, I haven't called on someone in a while or heard from someone in a while, and that small community just makes it so much closeness. I don't want to say better, but it feels great. So it may be a little better in the sense that I get to have a lot more close bonding and personal, relationships with my scholars. So that's been really great. We get to show them things that, I haven't done before, like in Zoom meetings. Last week we were talking about Johnny Appleseed, and in northern states they have lots of apple orchards. That's not something that Texas is really familiar with. So I was in an apple orchard. I had my background set up so that Zoom was showing an apple orchard, and now the kids got to actually see it and be there with us, which is something that I don't think that they get to experience otherwise. So that's been really great. The technology and getting to use all of that stuff to actually invite them there has been really great.
Yeah, well, that's amazing to hear, because it sounds like you're creating something new. So I'm going to hand it off to Sullivan next, but I'll come back to you because I want to ask more about what the schedules are like for the young students. Okay, so Ms. Sullivan, I want to ask you kind of the same question. You've been a fifth grade teacher at a bricks and mortar campus, and now you're a fifth grade teacher at Great Hearts Online. And so what has your experience been like as a teacher?
It has been, I really want to echo a lot of what Bridget just said, because it does feel that way. Those immersive experiences that you can have depending on, what you're learning in class that day. It really feels like you get to go somewhere, and you're not just, sitting at home. You're traveling to, we're learning about the Civil War right now. So we've traveled to a lot of different battlefields, and I think that part of it, that virtual experience part of it, is something that is new and something that I'm excited to share with my students. But I think one thing that really is the most important for us, whether we are, online or we are at a brick and mortar campus, is the relationships that we're creating with our students. So when I made the transition from being a brick and mortar student teacher to being an online teacher, I was concerned about how am I going to grow and foster, these relationships with my students. And, we start off in homeroom together each morning, and we just make our time very intentional. Like we're there to not only learn, but we're there to be a part of each other's lives. And that's really what school is, for our students in K through 12th grade, being a part of something larger. You're going out into the world, very kind of small scope of the world, but you're still going out into the world, even if you're just hopping on a Zoom call with your classmates and you're engaging with others. And I think in 5th grade, one thing that is really important, I think, for any pre-middle schooler is the relationships that you're creating with your peers in class as well. So not only are we doing our best to come off of mute and actually talk to each other and have a conversation, but to go into breakout rooms during live class time and say, hey, okay, we're still doing group work. And we totally can still do group work. We're just online doing group work, but it works just as well. So 5th grade has been wonderful. I feel like I know my students' likes, I know their interests, I know the best ways that they learn. I know some things that they have to work on as well, just like, every teacher does, no matter, what platform you are using. But it has been a really amazing experience. And yes, we have learned so much. And just like Bridget said, we've taken a lot of parent feedback and we've applied it and we've implemented it because we're in this together. This is, as we keep saying, a community effort. And we truly do believe in that. So it's wonderful. I'm excited about it. I'm excited for the rest of the quarter. I can't believe we're already approaching quarter 4. It's amazing. Or we're in quarter 4. Oh my goodness. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing. Okay, well, so I'm going to come back to you and ask more about the schedule. But so I'm going to put Mrs. Saltmarsh back on the big screen and ask, can you talk about what a school day is like for a kindergartner at Great Hearts Online? Because I think sometimes families have a hard time picturing, like, how does that work? Like, how much of their school day is online? How much is independent work? And how do you keep young children engaged with online learning?
Absolutely. So, our school day is very similar in the order that we do things to brick and mortar. We start off in the morning greeting each other. It's kindergarten, so I love singing. We have lots of songs about, greeting our friends and things like that. We jump into our calendar time and we have a virtual calendar that we're learning, and we sing calendar songs about the days of the week and the months of the year. We have our weather helper who tells us about the weather, which is really great because, like you guys said, when we're in different places, the weather could be different for one scholar versus another. And learning about that and talking about the fact that the weather, even though we're in the same state, is still not the same or identical for everyone. They all want to check the weather together. And even though one scholar is presenting, they're all checking to see, well, is that the same kind of weather that I have today? And they're making those connections with each other that way. And then after we finish up with calendar, we're jumping into Spalding and we are learning math together. We use dry erase boards to share answers. We're using our document cameras to share answers. They use their document cameras actually even for Spalding, so they can show me and I can see what they're writing at that time. Because in brick and mortar school, apprentice teachers and teachers as well are going around checking handwriting. We're checking that same handwriting with our document cameras. I've become quite an expert at reading handwriting upside down and can tell you exactly if you've started in the right place, and we're doing the same guidance that we would in brick and mortar. And then, of course, we're jumping into literature. We're enjoying good stories together. I can share my screen with scholars so that they can follow along with the pages of the book. It's not, I don't like to hold the book way back here where they can barely see it. It's right there on the screen for them, and they can see the book while I'm reading. It gives them a nice, good picture. They could probably see even better than sitting on the carpet time. You've got those scholars that are in the back and you're having to pass the book around. We're all looking at the same screen, so it makes it nice and easy. And then we go into our science units. Right now we're doing magnets, and they were all amazed watching things that the magnets can stick on. We're gonna talk about things that the magnets can go through, and they're gonna do those same type of things at home as well. So for independent time, Well, first I'll say it's 2 hours in class together, live time with us. They have 30 minutes for their specials, and that's one a day, usually either Spanish or art, music, and then they've got time asynchronous or independent work, we call it. And like Kurtis said, that could be done at any time throughout the day. So if they need to take a break or go play outside, have lunch, we have snack together in class while we're learning. So we're still having snack time together. And they'll usually do that during our story time. They can have a snack while they're doing it. And then they get that about an hour's worth of independent work for kindergarten scholars that we give them. And it's just supplemental to what we're learning in school. So they are taking the text that we've learned, they're practicing their phonograms and their independent work at home. They have their own math textbooks at home that they're working in. So that makes it really easy for them to not have quite as many things to print off. We're giving them experiments. We love doing experiments. Last week, we were experimenting with oil, water, and a cotton ball to see why ducks float and instead of sink. And we try to use things that we know that parents might have at their house already. Simple couple of steps to do so that it's not too much work, but still engaging. And so that's what our typical day looks like. Now, it can be a challenge sometimes online to get a kindergartner's attention. Usually singing really is great for them. We do movement breaks. So we get up in the morning and we shake to wake up. We're usually doing some kind of shaking or jumping around activity, or I've been letting my scholars actually take turns now. They are doing they give us 3 movements to do. So we're doing some kind of jumping jacks or shaking activities to wake up our bodies and wake up our brains. So we're ready to go. We actually use a lot of movement activities as learning opportunities. So they love playing this phonogram game right now, where I give them like a sound. It could be like the first sound or the second sound, the ending sound, and they run around the house finding things that have that sound in it and where it's placed in the word. So they're still learning and they get to move and be away from the computer for a minute, take a break, and then they get to come back and share what they found with us, which is, it was such a big hit in the beginning. We were never able to take it away. So it's just going to be there forever now. They love that game. We do counting, skip counting to jumping jacks. We do skip counting to stomps or apple picking. We've been using our counting on skills, and we do all of that with movement so that they get to take a break, but they're still learning at the same time. And those are just really great ways to engage scholars throughout the day. Occasionally you have a cat walk by or a scholar who's got a little brother or sister that's being distracting, but that's just life, and that's the way it is right now online. So you just got to be more entertaining and more engaging and more passionate about the things that you're teaching than that cat that's distracting them right now. So a lot of it comes from tone and just, I'll tell them that I've got something that's exciting to share, or a surprise or a secret, letting them, the Socratic method that we already use at Great Hearts is perfect for this, because them having to think about it themselves and me not just lecturing them and telling them, regurgitating information already gets them excited, right? Because they're actually telling me and they're discovering it for themselves. So it's already exciting right there. And then your tone just kind of like brings it in. Can they figure it out? Do they know what's my favorite this, or what's making the Saltmarsh so excited? Why is she excited to see what's coming up? Those are a lot of just, techniques that I already use in the classroom, so they're easy to transfer online.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's like, this has been a problem that like so many teachers and so many classrooms have had to solve. And it's wonderful to hear about like what's working, because it can feel kind of discouraging sometimes, seeing this problem play out across like so many different campuses. And so, that's one thing I hope is that like I'm not wanting things to go back to the way they were before the pandemic. What I want is for things to evolve and find new ways of doing things. And what you're talking about engaging students, like that's good, whether it's online or in a classroom. And having these good teaching techniques and having more and more teachers be aware of them and use them to keep students engaged, like that's making things better. So thanks for sharing that. I'm going to pop Ms. Sullivan back on screen and ask her kind of the same question about like, what is the school day like for fifth grade students? And I guess engagement is a little different because they're almost middle schoolers.
So true.
The role starts to creep in.
It does. So we have a pretty similar schedule in the sense that our live synchronous classes are happening from about 8 o'clock, where we start off in homeroom, and our last class ends around noon, so about 12 o'clock. And during that time, students they're in fifth grade. We are traveling from class to class, and we're going to see a content specialty teacher who is amazing at what they teach and loves what they do, and you get to immerse yourself with that teacher in that subject area. So a student might attend homeroom with me in the morning for about 25 minutes. They will go to literature class, so ELA. So we're doing some grammar, writing, poetry. We're obviously reading our beautiful classics that we have. And that's for about 45 minutes. And then they're going to math class. They're going to science or history class. That rotates nicely. They're going to Latin, they're going to art, they're going to music, they're going to a variety of classes. And, your content specialty classes are going to be about 45 minutes long. And it's an awesome time to really say, okay, here is the essential, questions that we are going to be, discovering and discussing today during class time. Or here is this math problem that we're going to kind of take apart and apply some skills to. Or here's this amazing piece of artwork that we're going to kind of discuss and talk about, the imagery that's represented in it. Or poetry, we could go on and on about, our beautiful curriculum, but students are engaging in conversations with their peers. They are hearing from a teacher who truly does love what they're teaching, and you can sense it in their voices. So that's really wonderful. I always encourage my students in fifth grade to go take a break after all that learning. Your brain needs it. I know I do. I try to hop off the computer for, anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes and give myself that, nice brain break. But I know a lot of our teachers incorporate it just as, Bridget does in kindergarten, where we take a stretch break. I know in Latin class, they're doing some kind of like Latin yoga poses and things like that. So it's really fun. And I just have students who will greet me, telling me about something they've learned in a previous class, or how something in history is connecting to something we're doing in literature, or about, something beautiful in science. I'm just remembering the Mars rover from just a few weeks ago, and how excited our students were because they were studying astrology at that time. And it was a great, content cross-curricular, connection that students are able to have. So after that break, for, lunch, or, going and playing outside, or just being a kid, I encourage students to work from 1 o'clock until 3 o'clock. I think if you put in that time and you really sit down and you check off the things you need to do on your independent practice time sheet, your to-do list, I think that is a great way to kind of get your work done in that day, and to also create those, those organizational skills and building those habits that are so essential to when they get into middle school and later in high school. So that, in a nutshell, is our fifth grade schedule. We have a lot of fun. I love laughing and giggling and still bringing that sense of like, school is fun. We're in fifth grade. We're gonna have a great time with something to our everyday lives. I think it's so important.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you're showing a nice, like, there's balance between like, like knowing what's on your to-do list and like being, those like executive function skills, right? Of like, managing the workload and stuff. And that's part of like building that independence, so that as kids get older, they can manage themselves better. But it sounds like that, I mean, there's a lot of understanding that they're still kids and, they need their to get the wiggles out, and they need to, and just make it playful too. And like have some silliness with it too. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I will say, Bridget, you're not the only one who sings the songs. I love incorporating the songs too. My, current fifth graders, they don't know that yet, but they will soon learn. They will soon learn that music is, we love it at every age, even if it's a silly little tune to help us remember something or to, get our little wiggles out.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to what I call the Brady Bunch screen, because I have a question I want to really to all three of you, but maybe Ms. Sullivan could answer first, and that's going back to what Kurtis brought up at the beginning, which is about community building, and because I think that's one of the things that I mean, I know this has been heavy on my heart. My family has been very cautious about staying inside during the pandemic, and like we're so eager to get out. But like having a sense of community when you're primarily interacting with people online is a challenge. And so, and I'm sure this is something that we're all still like learning and evolving. But if you could each kind of comment on the ways that you make each classroom and make the school feel like a community. So we'll do Ms. Sullivan first, then Mrs. Saltmarsh, and then take it back to Kurtis.
Awesome. It is a question that, always weighs heavy on my heart. I think that is the most important thing we can do as teachers, cultivating the relationships with our students. If we haven't done that in an entire year, what have we been doing the entire time? I really think it is essential. And that comes first and foremost. So oftentimes to start off the year, I will do, an interest inventory to see what our interests are. What are your hobbies? What are your interests? That is something I would do no matter what platform I'm going to be using. It is still important for me to know those things. We have done a lot of, our homerooms will be themed. And the theme could change every day because student input really matters. So sometimes it is like today we had a Riddle Monday, and we just had so many riddles going to like wake our brains up, but to also see who had the most, challenging riddle. And oh gosh, they are so smart. Some of those riddles, I don't know how they knew those. So in homeroom time, it's a really great time for us to just bond as a community. We will have lunch bunches. We will, on Fridays, we have asynchronous work only, but we have tutoring, we have office hours, we have really a day to, get the help that you really need from your teacher or an interventionist or someone like that. But we will also have optional lunch bunches in which we will share our, hobbies and interests. I've had students play the piano for me. I've had them show off their cool anime artwork that they're really, really proud of. I've had someone play the violin for me and do a duet with her sister. It is amazing. And it's so fascinating seeing they're at home. They can literally just reach behind them and grab the thing that they're so excited to show you. And I think that for me is the most beautiful part of this, is that I get to kind of be in your home with you and be a part of your life. And I think because students spend so much time, their young lives at school, it is a way for us to truly connect with them and to see what they are interested in. So little things like that just goes such a long way. Even today, we're going to have Spirit Week next week. So all the students are so excited to talk about, I'm going to do this, or I want to do, X, Y, and Z. And they're starting to plan out, certain things that they'd like to do with one another. So I think that is precious. It still exists. It's still an excitement, no matter, brick and mortar, online. It is there, and I love it. So just a few ways that we, cultivate that classroom community. But still a wonderful, wonderful thing that we do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, I'm going to bring Mrs. Saltmarsh on the big screen and then ask, so for kindergarten, and you've already talked about some of the things you do to build community. So like singing together. I mean, that's a great way to bond. But yeah, how do you make the classroom feel like everyone's bonded?
Yeah, so I think some of the things that we do that they're bonding with, aside from just the singing together, when we're doing our poetry, even in brick and mortar, we did this, but we're making sure that we're very intentional about being a good audience member as well. They are listening to each other. We are silent cheering for one another. We always talk about encouraging each other, how it is sometimes challenging, especially in the beginning, to present your smart thinking, your knowledge, or your questions even. We are learning that mistakes are okay. That is a very hard concept, even for kindergartners. I'm sure Ms. Sullivan would agree that, for all ages, it is, learning that your mistakes are okay and encouraging one another with our silent cheers. We have lots of other cheers that they like to do and they get to pick from. So the scholars love doing that. Part of that phonogram game that I told you that will never go away, they love bringing in some of the words that they've found were their siblings, baby sisters and brothers, older siblings, their favorite cat or dog or toys. So they're getting to share the things that they love with us, and that amuses them. They find that, funny and enjoyable. It's a time for us to laugh together in class. And then one of the big things, like Ms. Sullivan was saying, that we have going on are those Fridays getting together with what she's calling the lunch brunch. This coming Friday, actually, we are going to have something very similar. We are learning about tall tales last week, this week, and next week. And our tall tale this week is Paul Bunyan. And there's a lot of things in our book about pancakes and flapjacks. And I think that loggers must really like pancakes and flapjacks because it's a big part of the story. So we're having Flapjack Friday. Scholars are making this week in class, they're making like beards to be a logger. And they are allowed to wear, they're going to be able to wear either their uniform or they can wear plaid to be a logger. They can wear their beard and they can present their work to us and share and show off they're making some Paul Bunyan Tall Tales characters. Well, they'll be coloring and cutting out the head and the feet for Paul Bunyan, and then doing some writing activities. One of the writing activities is coming up with their own Tall Tales character, their pet. So Paul Bunyan has a pet blue ox, and they get to make their own Tall Tales pet. What would it be? What would they name it? And draw a picture of it. So they love sharing those kinds of things. We've done in the past where they shared their favorite book. For kindergarten, we're very intentional, and I'll actually ask them to bring your favorite book, bring your favorite toy to talk to us about, so that we don't sit there in silence with crickets, especially in the beginning. Before we knew each other, it was very quiet. But once we had that opening icebreaker, they were able to really start opening up with one another. We do our small group tutoring sessions. So we already have only 15 scholars in class, but I have 3 different sessions that I do tutoring for math and Spalding each. And those are even smaller groups. And they're getting to play phonogram games with one another. We've been playing Phonogram Bingo and Phonogram Connect 4. So we're still learning, but they're getting to play games together. And I always send home the game, easy printable worksheets that they could do with their family. So now they've not only learned how to play Phonogram Bingo, but it's fun for the whole family. And they get to do that with them as well. So they get to play games with their scholars while they're learning. And that's just another way for them to connect with each other and get together. And I've had some parent feedback about the lunch brunches. They absolutely loved the first one. And that's why we decided to incorporate this next one. I already have wheels turning in my head for next year. We want to find a way to do our celebrations that we have done in the past. We have Tall Tale Celebration was always one of my favorites, and we're going to make it work and find a way to do some celebrations throughout the year.
Wow, that's wonderful. Okay. Oh, let's see. Let me bring Kurtis in, and then Kurtis can talk more about community building. So, but it sounds like these teachers have amazing ideas and are working really hard. And it sounds like it's just going to keep getting better because they have more ideas that they want to try out next year.
Yeah. Inga, step number 1 is to hire the right team. And so you just met 2 of them. I think one thing that I want to emphasize, just kind of building off of what Mrs. Saltmarsh and Ms. Sullivan shared, is that, online learning is different, and that doesn't mean worse, right? We are using tools really intentionally and thoughtfully, which actually allow kids to engage and interact with each other in different ways. They're getting to know each other differently. Engagement in small groups and being online, we're able to have smaller group conversations more frequently. We're able to engage with parents more frequently than you can in a brick and mortar setting. The time that we're able to spend on the sequencing of that content. So, I have a class tomorrow on X, but this afternoon, my assignment with a asynchronous video from Mrs. Saltmarsh is to do X, to prepare me for tomorrow to talk about Y. So there's an unbundling of learning, which allows kids to prepare and think and engage and be a part of communities in different ways. Are different. So lots of things happening. We are committed to building communities, and that means online communities. That also means in-person communities. And so we also have regional gatherings. We had families come together at a park, which some parents organized to get to know each other and to have their kids play over the weekend. And as something that I'll put out there and we can talk about in about a month or so, we will start to pilot micro school strategies for the coming year. We want to think about how can families attend and join Great Hearts Online and also have an in-person community element of it, whether that's in a pod, whether that's in a physical location in the afternoon a few days a week. Those are elements of joining our school that we are working on. And in the coming month, I'll ask families to share a little bit more about that, ask people to raise their hand if they want to be part of our pilot year this coming year. We'll be piloting and figuring that out. Again, in partnership, we have ideas. We've talked to people about what they want, but none of it's real until we listen to you, until we hear what matters, until we change what we're doing to meet your needs and make those adjustments. So lots of ways we're trying to build communities, not just online, but also in person and hybrid.
Yeah, I'm curious to learn more about the micro school stuff, but I know we don't have time to get into it today. But yeah, just a little note to the viewers to come back. Let's see. Oh, we have a comment. Let's see. Crystal Morrow says, Kinder Scholar is so excited about themed lunch bunch. I think that's fantastic. So I wanted, let's see, I always end a chat with the call to action. And so I'm going to go ahead and pop the banner back up, which is, if folks want to, go online, they can go to Great Hearts Online. They can read more about the school. They can find the application. They can find the interest list. And Curtis, you mentioned that there was an info session last week, and that is archived. And there's another one coming up this week. It's Wednesday, April 7th at 6 p.m. Central, right? Yes,
that's right. We had an info session, our first kind of preparing for next year on March 24th. If you go to our Facebook page, which this link will take you right to, you can find that archived in the video section. And we have another info session in just 2 days. This coming Wednesday at 6 p.m. We'll hear from more teachers. We'll hear from some parents, because no one really, what I have to say doesn't really matter. It's the faculty and it's what parents say that matters most. And so we invite you to come and hear what they have to say and learn more about our school.
All right. And then I kind of want to give everyone a chance to offer closing thoughts. So maybe we can do Mrs. Saltmarsh and then Ms. Sullivan, and then Curtis can kind of close this out. But Mrs. Saltmarsh, do you want to offer a closing thought, to parents who are thinking about enrolling their kids at Great Hearts Online for next year?
Sure. So I would definitely say this is something that I recommend looking into and seeing if it fits for you. Like Curtis said, it's different and it's new. It's very exciting, and we are working with parents. We're working with scholars to change things and to mold things so that we still have the great content that we've always had, but so that it fits with an online learning environment. And so I would definitely recommend looking into it, seeing if it is the right fit for your family. Yeah, we have lots of great things to come.
I will just echo really what Bridget just said. If you're looking for a beautiful liberal arts curriculum and an online platform that is flexible for your family and the needs of your family, here we are. We are excited to welcome you in with open arms, to welcome you to our wonderful online community of scholars, of teachers, of families. So come and join us. We're here for you, and we can't wait to meet you.
Yeah, thank you, Bridget and Emily. Two thoughts. One is, everyone experienced emergency distance learning to various degrees this year. And I would just say that there is the leap from in-person to emergency distance learning is large. The leap from emergency distance learning to a best-in-class online school is just as great. And so for all of you who experienced something this year and thought, I could see how that could work. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I could see how that could work. Come learn more about Great Hearts Online, right? It may not be the right fit for your family, but I just want to clarify, the distance between in-person and emergency distance learning and online best-in-class is significant. The second thing I'll share is none of us want to create an online school. We want to create a Great Hearts Online Academy. And those are not the same thing. And so you hear in all of our answers talking about our curriculum and our content and a sense of wonder and a depth of inquiry and community and culture. And that is the DNA and essence of a Great Hearts education, of our Great Hearts environment and school community. And that lives on. It's different. It's not lesser. It's not greater, although I could argue that sometimes, we are able to do some things that you can't do in person. But it's different. And it's that same core Great Hearts Online that rings true in our kids' lives and our faculty experience and what we're trying to do in partnership with you all.
Well, this is wonderful. It's come so far since this was just like an idea on the drawing board, and I'm excited to see how it continues to grow. So, the website's on the screen, greatheartsonline.org, K-8 for the coming school year, info session on Wednesday. And, again, go to greatheartsonline.org and you can sign up for the interest list, you can enroll, you can get more information, you can register for the info session, all that good stuff. So thank you all so much for joining me on Charter Moms Chats. And I look forward to seeing you all in person sooner or later.
Yes. Thank you so much, Inga. Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Thank you, Mrs. Saltmarsh.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a good afternoon.
Bye, y'all.